about for gaming right here. And I remember that my dad and I, we were talking about some games that we used to play with, back nearly 12, 15 years ago. It was battle tanks, on the Nintendo 64, as well as other games. But we were also talking about for Grand Theft Auto, and I remember whenever Vice City first came out, I can remember that they announced to where I have that ability to where you can actually fly a helicopter. But I don't know if you call this an Easter egg or whichever you call it, but still, that if it glitch or something like that, but still. That talking about for the helicopter pilot, that if you get a one level 3 or 4 during the game, that you talk about for whenever send out enemies, such as to where if you're going to have what's called the police, and then as well as that during the gameplay of Grand Theft Auto, that anything about what's called like a certain during the gameplay to where that during the gameplay that you'll be able to during get certain wanted levels and all that during the gameplay, and one of those is like have the police helicopter chasing at you while you're going around the city and stealing cars and shooting and robbing banks, anything like that during the gameplay for Grand Theft Auto. But so far as Rockstar Games though is that talking about is to where that about the helicopter pilot right here. And if we could see this right here would be an example right here of like of a sniper rifle. And but you see right here, you have the details right here of that somebody coming down from the helicopter on a rope right here. And like I say that that it goes by as I talk about to where that during the gameplay that you would see the dudes coming down from the helicopter coming down from the with the rope from the helicopter right there with their machine guns, but then you don't see no pilot in the helicopter and want to know about what that's all about. But still though, that you see right here is that that you see the dudes coming down from the rope and coming down with the rope from the helicopter, but then you just don't see the pilot in the cockpit. And so it's like, say I want to know during the time that we were playing is like asking about is like, how come we can't see the pilot in the helicopter when they're zooming into a telescopic sight with a sniper? Like, why is it that we can't see the guy in the helicopter when they're zooming into a telescopic sight with the sniper rifle? And so it seems like that, that for knowing about the best answer, like is that then I got was mainly about is that there might be one-way glass inside the helicopter where it cuts down glare for the pilot. But I think that really what he was trying to say is that during the game design though that you are to be going through certain levels of the game just to learn to fly the helicopters. And I just really think also that possibly the game designers that did not include the pilot, but really what he was really supposed to say was there was one-way glass inside the helicopter. Well, you'll keep looking for him, and so it's like say well the pilot is not there. The pilot is not there. So I remember during that time, my dad and I, we were thinking about different pilots, to be able to use. And let's just say that if there was if there was people like, so that there's if there was a pilot right here, and let's just say that if there was an actual, if say, for the co-pilot, and then, it's like another type of pilot we can go ahead and use. But talk about with the pilots though, that whenever you're going to be playing the game though, a lot of times that I can remember that to where that whenever I was playing at the game that figure out a way of how to be able to get a helicopter, be able to fly the helicopter. And I can remember that whenever the first time I played Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that I was trying to figure out where you can find a helicopter. And I kept thinking to where that possibility that if you can steal one of those police helicopters from the air and, just to be able to learn to fly the helicopter. And it seems like, and I even heard that you can climb up the ropes too, like you had the main character, Tommy Vercetti, who would even be going around, with all with the weapons on it, just going around town and stealing, cars, and just to be able to complete the missions during the game of Grand Theft Auto. But I just really think though that really the purpose about the game, if if you have the police helicopter that's going to be coming by, and want to know too that the best way, I'm like, during the gameplay that you would earn points or so if you were to shoot the pilots, to shoot the helicopter. And so it's like, so yeah, other game like a Grand Theft Auto, if there was San Andreas, and it was also Liberty City Stories and other games. But talking about with the helicopter right here, and one thing that I know I really just didn't quite understand either was really about though that with vigilante mode, for the helicopter, but still though that they have a here with the helicopter though. That whenever I first started playing the game, Grand Theft Auto, that you would enter the cheat codes, and a lot of times that you would use the sniper rifle. Like the sniper rifle would you would be able to spot targets within certain distance from the game, and one of those was Easter eggs. But you're likely wondering too that why is it that you can't see the pilot in the helicopter in the cockpit? And like I say, well, there might be one more glass inside the helicopter where it cuts down glare for the pilot. Well, how come we can see everything else inside the helicopter except the pilot? And everything else could also be, you have right here is the cockpit right here. And then, you could have like what you call like the radio transparency, or maybe the radar or something like that. Like I say, you can see maybe things about the cockpit right here, maybe the radar axis and all. So yeah, that during the gameplay though, then I can remember that you just want to know about, why is it that there is nobody, flying the helicopter? Like I say, you want to know about who is flying that helicopter. And so like I say, I know like Grand Theft Auto 5 that I think that, so far as advanced graphics, so, but still that I know that whenever you're going to be playing a game, though, that was the first thing I was trying to figure out, is to where that why is it that that if we're going to be trying to, if the pilot though, that well, why would the pilot be the most important thing that for relate to the helicopter? And sometimes it's like, say, compare it to the subway. I'm like, you're like one and two, that why is it that maybe the subway did not include anything about what you call the subway operator, somebody in the driver's side of the subway, or that if it was at the metro or something like that, during the game of Grand Theft Auto 3. But talk about for for the helicopter right here, that really, would it make any sense to include a pilot in there? And let's just say that if you say you be able to work it out where you steal one of those helicopters in the air, and want to know too is to where that, yeah, that if you include the pilot, and want to know too, yeah. I've tried that before on a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Is that I would steal the helicopter, in the air, and then whenever you would land at the helicopter, whenever the helicopter would even land in the water, that you would be able to hear the pilot in there, but then you just would not be able to see him. And so it seems like that yeah, I don't know if you want to call it an Easter egg, but I just really think though that nowadays with video games that they got these certain words and programs and memories. I'm like, for how did they develop the game? But still though that I know that if you're going to be developing a game, which I always used to think too, is to where you used to say that if you're going to be developing a game, is try to put as much detail for the game players as possible, for what other players enjoy about the game. So I know that whenever the game first came out, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, whenever that game first came out, I can remember that they announced that you would have that ability to where you could be able to fly a helicopter. And yeah, fly a helicopter and then fly a plane, as well as other motorbikes and all that, and a few other things too that I know that mentioned about the game too, that a lot of game players that look forward to. But I can remember that whenever I first played the game, I played the game long enough to where I completed the amount of missions, and whenever that time where I would get like what you call a 3-star, 4-star felony was, and there would be the police helicopter. That I'm like, say, so yeah, that police helicopter, and I can remember that trying to figure out a way of how to be able to climb up by trying to steal the helicopter. But still though, that the first thing I can remember during whenever I was playing that game was trying to zoom in to the cockpit just to be able to see if I can spot the pilot. And in case of, say, yeah, compared to like the rocket launcher and like the sniper rifle, though, that, yeah, that, you would not even want to waste the bullets, or maybe if not even a rocket launcher, but you would use the sniper rifle just yeah, just to take out the pilot, just to be able to shoot the helicopter down. But still, during the gameplay, though, that I can remember noticing that there was no pilot in the helicopter, and we were like writing to them, like, say, yeah, that hey, how come we can't see the pilot in the helicopter? So it's like, say, yeah, that you have right here is like the details right there for the helicopter, and want to know a little about my that, yeah, like, yeah, well, what do you want to tell him? Like, well, you're the pilot, you're the pilot, the pilot's supposed to be in there, but you'll just keep looking, or yeah, there might be one with glass inside the helicopter where it cuts down glare for the pilot. Well, how come we can see everything else inside the helicopter except the pilot? So yeah, so I know that you have right there is the pilot, the cockpit right there, and but I just really think that the whole purpose about the game, that was really about, is to where, if we can all see this right here, was that that the main character, Tommy Vercetti, would have that ability to where at some point of the game to where he can climb up into the helicopter right there, where Tommy Vercetti would be able to climb up into the helicopter at some point during the game. He'll be able to have that ability to where he can climb up into the helicopter and take the control of the helicopter at some point. During a one, I'm like, yeah. So in case of any, really be the point of that. And I guess would that maybe be easier for, like, if it was Tommy Vercetti, the main character, that that main character was not able to swim during the game of Grand Theft Auto, so they were thinking as to where that at some point during the game, that maybe the developers were thinking as to where that if you're going to be playing the game long enough and want to know as to where the number of times that the helicopter will be coming by, and thinking as to where who would really want to take the time to figure out how to climb up the rope just to be able to climb up into the helicopter to take the flight of the helicopter. So it seems like that maybe that the games of Rockstar Games decided that they did not want to include the pilots, just because that the gamers would find out that that's the ability for what the gamers can do. And I guess you say that if that's really the truth of the matter, that during the time of the gameplay, that it was all about is to where that that, yeah, that you would have that ability to where you can fly a helicopter, but figuring out is to where that if there are other ways of how to get a helicopter, it's not just what you call find one that's going to be parked near the airspace or the police station or anywhere like that, or the air base or somewhere like that. Anything such as the Hunter, the helicopter. There's there's like 3 or 4 different helicopters during the gameplay, but you have right here is the main character right there. And I just really think, though, that, during the gameplay is to figure out about how to get a helicopter. And one of those ways, of course, was to go ahead and try and figure out a way of to have that ability to where you can steal the police helicopter whenever yeah, whenever you get a 1 level or 3 level felony. And yeah, that and you likely learn too that the guys are going to be coming out from the ropes, that from the back of the helicopter with their machine guns and all that. But still, that I know that's something my dad and I were talking about, is that, yeah, that really, though, that it's all about training you about how to be able to have that ability to fly a helicopter. So I guess the game designers say that yeah, they included the pilots in the helicopters, but mainly only during the missions. Only during the missions, not really about if you're going to be messing around and stealing cars and yeah, by vigilante modes or anything like that. That you would be able to see the pilots during the missions. Not what you call during what you call that the messing around, like to where you're just going to be going around stealing cars and you robbing people or anything like that. So yeah, that so I just really think, though, that during the purpose of the gameplay, though, is that, yeah, that mainly is to concentrate on the missions, on the side jobs and the missions. Not really about that you can all just mess around, go around stealing cars and if the police, I'm like, yeah, and then when the helicopter chases you and whenever the army chases you, like all that stuff about Grand Theft Auto. But that's something about Dan and I would talk about is that, yeah, the people who developed the game would assume is to where there's other ways of how you can be able to find and fly a helicopter. And one of those would be is to where to be able to steal the police helicopter whenever the police helicopter. But still, I know that climb up the ropes also, I know that I was not able to figure it out, but I heard that you can actually climb up the rope and actually, climb up the rope and steal the helicopter in air. And but still, though, that couple times want to know too is that if you're going to be zooming into the helicopter with a telescopic sight with the sniper rifle, they want to know that how come you can't see the pilot in the helicopter. And like they say that, yeah, well, yeah, that's it's something that we did. But still, I know that, yeah. Yeah, and I know this was like it was 12 years ago, but I'm like, yeah, that really though that I guess during the gameplay of the main character though that you would learn how to fly the helicopter, and basically that I guess the whole purpose about the game is to where that you would basically learn about how to get a helicopter and how to fly a helicopter, and I think that that's really the best answer is that yeah that you would really only see the pilots during the missions. It was not during, let's say, the side, you say, from the gameplay. But anyway, I really though that whenever I first played this game right here, that I can remember that to where that graphics were supposed to be good, better, and one two to where you can see the inside of the helicopter, but you just could not find the pilots. So I say that, yeah, well, if the pilots are included or for any reason at all, that no, actually, the pilots are supposed to be there, but, yeah, that they're hiding behind the glass. There's one-way glass inside the helicopter. Yeah, you just got to keep looking for them. Keep looking for them, and you'll see them later on. Or, yeah, may only be programmed to see certain parts of the helicopter, whichever you call it, or you're looking at too far of an angle or too close of an angle to why you can't see the pilot. But anyway, talk about say for the pilot for GTA, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.